once Justin Leming over here was a strong, jovial, and fun-loving kid, and is described by his pastors as a young man of faith. So much faith, they say, he told his family and the nurses taking care of him that he wasn't afraid to die. Justin Leming's pastors say the kid liked to have fun.
In just a few minutes of meeting Justin, you would have a friend. You would want to be around him.
Just had a sweet spirit about him, a real kind demeanor. Everybody loved Justin. His sense of humor was wonderful.
Calvin Nunley, the pastor at Soddy Daisy's Christ Family Church, knew Justin for 10 years.
Church, family, friends, that's what Justin was passionate about.
He says Justin had a lot of things in his life that could have set him on the wrong path, like growing up without a father.
But he chose to live life good and do what's right and just accept the challenges in his life and go on about them.
At Sequoyah Vocational School, Pastor Nunley says Justin developed a passion for welding.
He's got some items at home that he welded, little unique figures that I'd never seen until Sunday.
But he says one of his greatest passions was the church community.
Justin come to church every time that there was church.
Even during his 4-week battle with COVID at Erlanger Children's Hospital, Pastor Nunley says Justin held on to an incredible sense of faith.
He never gave up. He told the doctors he wasn't afraid to die.
And it's that commitment to those in his life that will be remembered.
I'll miss him. I really will. I say that with all my heart. I'll miss Justin.
A young man laid to rest far too early who made an outsized impact in just 17 years of life. Pastor Nunley says Christ Family Church will be hosting a celebration of life ceremony for Justin tomorrow night at 7. You can find those details on our website, newschannel9.com, along with a life statement written by Justin himself. While most people feel COVID's grip for a week or two, it's lingered with Tiffany Duffy and James Docklinski for 9 months.
We're not okay. We'll get there. But right now, we're not okay.
It has taken a toll on me emotionally, mentally, and in a really negative light.
James got COVID in November and still can't taste or smell.
You've lost 2 of your 5 senses. You're pretty blind to things. It's just been really rough.
Tiffany got it in December and continues to battle brain fog, vision issues, and fatigue. She hasn't been able to work since June.
I was like, I can't work like this. I'm sitting here falling asleep. I can't finish this call without coughing. I don't have the breath.
Before COVID, Tiffany says this was her medication regimen, but now this is what it looks like.
I have no stamina anymore.
Dr. Sapna Kripalani works at Vanderbilt's Long Hauler Clinic. She says many patients come to them feeling neglected.
Many of the people who've come to us have already had multiple interactions with the healthcare system, where understandably people didn't know what to tell them.
She says the number one symptom they see is long-term fatigue.
People wake up just feeling tired. They're tired all day. They don't have the capacity to do their work or go to school or do the things that they were previously doing.
But in a sign of hope for the vaccinated, Dr. Kripalani says early data shows they may be nearly 50% less likely to develop long hauler symptoms if they get COVID.
To know that people who are eligible for vaccines can prevent long haul by up to half is really great news.
The vaccines weren't out when James and Tiffany got COVID, so for them, it's about holding on to hope.
I just want to be better. I want to go back to work. I want to start living life again.
To be able to taste my mom's cooking again, like I'd do anything for that.
There still is federal help meant to help tenants who are facing eviction. The infrastructure plan that Biden proposed originally would have added more affordable options to our area, and advocates say that those options are needed right here in Hamilton County. Like for many, the summer of 2020 meant uncertainty for Rosanna Miller and her husband.
He wasn't making the money that we were used to, and it came down to rent or lights or food, and you just have to make a decision.
COVID-19 meant the family's income took a hit, and it wasn't long before the family fell behind on rent payments.
I had to stand in lines at food banks, and, I know that sounds, like a sob story, but when you have no food, you do what you got to do.
The Millers got on a payment plan with their landlord and eventually caught up on their payments. Today, Rosanna's telling a very different story and closing in on the family's first house of their own.
We've come all this way, all these years together, and we've just finally done it.
But for many, the Delta variant has placed families into the situation Rosanna's now left behind.
Just in the last 60 days, it feels like it's summer of 2020 again.
The Northside neighborhood house seeing an uptick in families north of the river struggling to make rent payments this month.
Most people are just a paycheck away. Something happens, if your child has to go into quarantine, if you get sick and you miss a week worth of pay, or you're already behind.
Creasy saying more affordable options are needed in the first place.
And it's just so difficult to even just find that availability and that inventory.
With too many Hamilton County families spending far too much of their income on rent. Creasy says the average rent payment for families she's helped is $800 a month. Most of those families spending 50% of their income on those rent payments.